Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you know my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Rules could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, see how they play out as karmic themes to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. A lot of times we get stuck in the story of what's happening, right? Why this person is doing what they're doing, what they did, what we feel they're going to do. And what it does is it makes us not present. It brings us back to a time, a lot of times, that, we felt bad, whether or not we grew up in a family with a parent that didn't have a good attachment style to us. And now we're dating a person that's like that. So they don't communicate. We relive the same karmic pattern. So once you understand why everything's happening, you're able to integrate the spiritual lesson, and then you shape shift the energy. If there's many different realities that play out at one time, and a karmic is someone that loves you, they do love you. Karmics love in the beginning. There's an intense attraction. It actually feels like a twin flame. Problem is that the person is not healed, and then they come into your life. And then what happens is, if we don't learn, we're stuck in that energy. And then worse yet, a lot of times person knows what they did and they stay corded to you. So now you're stuck in this energy, corded to an energy that you don't really want to be corded to. So it's a way to take your power back, and now I don't just look about relationships, I look about your entire life. But when I first started this channel, I just used to look at relationships. And now I like to look at everything, because a lot of times you'll see those wounds that are going right across your life. It's not just in relationship, it's within money, or it's within other areas of your life. So, and who knows, you might not even like the person tomorrow. That's the crazy thing. Once you heal and integrate the spiritual lesson, if it's a karmic, a lot of times you can't see the person the way that you used to anymore. You just like, I'm not into you. Hey, honest to God, thanks for showing up. All right, so let's see what you need to look at just for yourself. That's it. I want to look at just what you need to look out for you. Let's see. I always like to read them together. It's a weird energy today, I don't know why. All right, this is just about you, what you need to look out for today, or it's usually not the day, because spirit has no time. And what you notice is you get a reading, and a lot of times it doesn't happen until way after the fact, because spirit has no time. And so if you're connected to someone that doesn't move, a lot of times you can get the same reading over and over and over again. So you need to change your energy. So let's look at what do you need healing in? What it for your own self, and what really spirit's saying is grounding deficit. You're up in your head a lot. It shows up as feeling disconnected from the present moment. And that thing is, when we're not grounded, we're not connected to spirit. People think spirit's in their head. Spirit's not in their head. Spirit's in their body. Your body is the temple for really spirit. Spirit works through you, through the air that you breathe, right? It's prana, chi. Well, it's also spirit. Spirit's God. It gives you life. It's ubiquitous. So when we're not grounded, we are not attached to our spiritual sovereignty. And I only say it like that because, listen, if we have grounding issues, it's because we've already lived through trauma. Hey, Rose, I'm going to call you Rose. So understand that. So it's hard to stay present. It's hard to stay grounded when we have trauma. And if we're connected to someone that's triggering us all the time, again, this is why there would be a grounding deficit, because there was wounding there. And now you're connected to someone that's bringing that out. It's keeping you up in your head. And then what will happen is money. You'll see it like show up as money, because money has no energy except for the energy that you're giving it. So if you're connected to someone that, is keeping you up in your head, ruminating, and keeping you emotional, it's keeping you stuck. So I feel like you might be connected to somebody, even though I was saying I didn't even want to talk about relationship. But sometimes it just comes through in the beginning, because Spirit says, well, that's the energy. And so if you're like, where's my money? Where's my fucking money? Where is the, like, why is it so hard? And Spirit says, again, money is right. Like, money works through you. It's the energy that you bring to it. So if you're not happy with your job, if you don't feel connected to your body, believe me, you're not. It's because, well, it's not really entertaining to be at my job. Well, then Spirit says there's a lot of hours in the day. You have to find yourself, and finding yourself is through the passions that you have. You might be so numb, because that's a lot of times if people are not grounded, they're in a trauma response due to what they're living. And so they're living like a reality that they've lived before, and usually it's within the family. I knew it. Didn't know that, like I said, which cards came out, but the ancestral, I knew it, because money is that root chakra. It's connected to the earth, connected to mother and father support, and understand you're not going to go back in time. So the connection is to God, and God through yourself, through being grounded. Only in the now do you get divine guidance. God works through the environment. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. As one door closes, another door opens. No one can take what's yours. You take what's yours by emotionally getting caught up. The Spirit says you need to be grounded. Because again, money issues, there is nothing. And it's also because, again, when we're ruminating, and there's ancestral karma there also from growing up in that environment where there wasn't support, and there still isn't support. And then that support comes through not just money, but emotionally, obviously. So that hasn't been there. There's a deficit. So it's the emotional imprint that you attract, which is people that just come into your life that, they don't show that they care. They feel they have this issue. So you're not emotionally getting what you need, but God says you need to do that for yourself. Get grounded. You fill your own cup up. You teach people how you want to be treated. You're teaching that person. It's like, because you're not grounded. Because again, they're deliberately, and they know what they do. The people know what they do. They say that projection. That's why I say that. So these are the wounds at hand, and Spirit's saying, go out in nature. Go out in nature. It's like, get grounded. Go take a walk barefoot. Go take a hike barefoot. Go out in nature. It's like, and also travel. Like, change the environment that you're in, because you maybe feel like your energy is a little stagnant, which this person keep you stuck, and that's what it's going to feel like. Because understand, when you're grounded and you travel, you get to see different things, you get to meet different people, and that's what gets you out of your funk. Because guess what? Other people are going to give you attention. Other people, because God says, I help those that help themselves. You don't think that I'm going to bring someone to you you don't think that I would bring something to you that would emotionally replace that again? But not if you don't go. Again, you're abundant. The world's abundant. It's like, you can be abundant, but you have to be grounded. You have to feel good about yourself. You can't be connected to people that make you stay angry, where you need to forgive. That needing to forgive is a problem. It blocks the Holy Spirit from working through you. Really, and that's really what it is. And Spirit says, open your mind and the willingness to entertain new ideas. It repels stagnancy and growth. No shit. It's like, literally, this is the card where Spirit's like, do something new. Change your energy. Because guess what? If you're attached to someone that thinks that they have you already in the bag, which understand that being pissed off at the fact that someone's not changing is because they have a big head, they have an ego, they don't think that they need to, and because you already showed that. Because you're so predictable, so reliable, you're always available. And God says you're not always available. You shouldn't be always available. You shouldn't be so predictable. They didn't earn that spot in your life. And I gave you free will, but fuck you. There's karma. If you're going to disrespect yourself, you're disrespecting me. Me first, I'm a jealous God. That's through you first. Again, there's no separation between you and me. And that's what you don't get. So as long as that person keeps you stuck in limitation, you're not going to be filled up. You're not going to be filled up emotionally to be able to be strong enough. And that's a problem. Your soul's main objective in this universe to experience is to return to your ultimate sovereignty and infinite essence of unconditional love. There's shadows there from ancestral karma, and then attracting people like that, and then you being angry and needing to heal. Spirit says, go out into the world, get grounded, go out, experience new things, meet new people. You're a likable person. You're an attractive person. People like you. But if you're around people that make you feel that way, they're not your people. Spirit says it's okay to say no. Maybe like I have like certain people that come, God says no. If they don't make you feel good, it's your environment that creates your reality because you form habits and behaviorisms that are in alignment with your perceptions. And God says, that's not real. You have to get grounded in me, which is just the energy of unconditional love. But you're going to give it to yourself by finding yourself. How are you going to find yourself? You're going to get grounded and you're going to go and travel to new places and experience new things and meet new people. Oh, that's where the problem is. Yeah, that's the second chakra block where God says, I didn't make someone that's inadequate, that has anxiety. Again, why do you have anxiety? Are you thinking about the future? Are you depressed? Are you thinking about the past? Only in the now. Only in the now. We can't go back in time, but you learn. And you learn from, hey, what have I always done? And Spirit says, let's do something different. We'll quantum jump into another reality. And I can guarantee that's going to fuck this person up. Because, hey, people get so cocky, they think who they are. And understand if you attracted someone like that, God says, well, you kind of taught them that. So available, where it's like you have so many more options. And and this person, you're letting this person define you. You're letting your trauma define you. But when you change and you say, no, I'm going to let me define me, let's see what that says. How does that make this person feel? What did they all of a sudden start to think about? Opposed to, because we already know what they did, but we can't change what they did, but it's going to keep you stuck and mad. So you need to see a different version of yourself where you're like, I raise my vibration. I love myself. And I have the opportunities and that I've met people and the experiences that fill my heart. So I feel sorry for you. Understand that. That's what needs to happen. I've been so grounded all my life. What this person's like, grounded. Yeah, well, they've been so grounded all themselves. Yeah, they are, because it's survival. So it's hard for them to trust the spiritual element of the connection, but they can feel it. But they're like, I still don't trust you. And I don't trust you because I have issues due to myself and what I've created in the past. So this is a person that's projecting a lot because, again, they're what they're saying. However, they know the universe works in mysterious ways. But they judge the situation. Again, more of the same, of that root chakra imbalance, which is I don't trust. I'm looking for a problem. I'm looking for that because I don't trust myself. So I can't trust you. Trust is not about trusting the other person. It's about trusting yourself because God's inside of you, gives you discernment so you can see by how a person is acting. The Spirit says, If you're so comfortable, you're not going to say, I don't do anything. I'm just a nice person. And the spirit says, yeah, that's the problem. You don't do anything. That's the problem that I have. That's imbalance. And so this person doesn't get it. They're still like looking for a reason, a problem, you know. There's a lesson to be learned from this. So again, like I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. I need to figure it out. I need to figure it out. We have past life connections. Again, this is a past life karmic mate. So again, as long as you stay away from this person, there will be subconscious and conscious things that come to this person's awareness. But as long as you stay connected to this person, like so available, they don't have to do the work. So understand this person, part of them doing the work is not to be so grounded, to shift them out of that logical, analytical mind and more into the creative mind. You know, this person has a second chakra in balance too, because look how they operate. Shady shifter, somebody that doesn't trust things, someone that's very logical, someone that, is looking for a problem. It's just when there's no problem. So understand that this person still has feelings, but there's people that are controlling them. They're not happy because karmic behaviors and people and situations are playing a role in what's happening with them. And it's hard for them to actually be able to see who they are, to know who they are. So this person doesn't even know who they are. And here's this spiritual connection, and they've learned how to operate from a very logical and analytical mind, so which they don't give emotionally. But when there's a spiritual connection and past life connection that feels like a twin flame connection, but again, soulmate connection, past life connection, so there's lessons to be learned. This person would never learn any lesson if you made it so easy. They would just be with you for a certain amount of time, be done, and move on to the next, because that's how this person operates. Thing is, they have a connection to you, but because they logically can't figure it out, they don't know what to do with it, because you can't destroy a spiritual connection, because it's one that the divine has brought together, not necessarily so that you'll be with this person. God, my hair, not so you'll be with this person, but so that, you'll learn what you need to learn. Do you have the opportunity? Yes. If, again, you stand true to yourself and you really happen to have a thing for this person, they're eventually going to surrender, because they're seeing, I'm not happy in my life. This person thought that they were going to get over. They had a connection. If they would have gotten over it, they would have moved on. Like I said, you didn't do that. So now it's almost like they look around and nothing is built on love. Karmic people means lessons. So it doesn't mean that in the beginning, if they're connected to a karmic mate, that there wasn't love, but there's no love now. It's held together through money or through things. And if it's not with a karmic mate, it's with a karmic people, like their parents, or just people that somehow they seem to be responsible for, and they don't really want to be responsible. And the reason why is because things that people are controlling them. But karmic is, again, you live out of balance. And if the behaviorism is drugs or drinking, because that's what it says here, it says behaviors, people, or situations. But usually, unfortunately, if there's, the behaviors, we know that there's situations, because eventually the universe comes in and says, time out, puts this person in a timeout, because they're living so out of balance. And Spirit's saying that's what it is. And now here they have this connection to you, and they're so out of balance. So that is this person just can't. They just can't. I'm triggered. And the old patterns have surfaced, and it hurts. So this is where they are. They're they might even be in a place of victimization, like you did something where you're I didn't do shit. It's yeah, well, that's because this person like wants to logic it and they don't really want to do the work. The universe has come in and they've done things. If people are starting to take control over this person's life to the point that they're uncomfortable, well, guess what? God says, well, if you notice, I have a twofold going on in this person's life right now. If all goes the way that I want, God says, which is you ignore this person, you don't give this person anything, and then they have all this karmic shit play out. So now they got to look around and see who's sitting there, who's clapping for them, who's giving them emotional support. Well, it looks like nobody, and well, this person's faced has to face their problems. There's no running from it because hey, you're not in there saying, well, here I am, because this person would just escape, and that's what you know. I feel like I don't deserve this. I'm worried you'll leave me when you see who I really am. And that's what happens. See, the things that are playing out in this person's life make this person feel inadequate. That's why emotionally they've learned, I don't have these emotional connections. Now here you come along and they have an emotional connection. They don't know what to do with this. It's like, but they're going to question it all the way till the cows come home. And God says, that's okay. Hold my beer, because it's going to be a real long time. It's like, because the ego's got to come down. But I always win, because love is a supernatural energy. It's a universal panacea, which is the magic pill. It's the only thing that makes people change. But the person's heart is, like a block, and mainly it's because how they feel about themselves. So if we don't love who we are, we can't really love someone to the potential that that person deserves, is what the lesson is, which is what Spirit's saying. You grew up in an environment due to the blocks that we saw, where with the ancestral karma, that's how we know that. That's an ancestral karmic curse, by the way. And the karmic curses need to be healed. Ancestral karmic curse will come out as money problems, feelings of unworthiness, feelings like there's something wrong with you, feeling like you're separate from your creator. And God says, that's not me. That's what your family. And you're like, yeah, they did it. So shouldn't they pay the price? And God says, that we already paid the price. The price was paid when Jesus was on the cross. That's the price. However, you're in war now. The spiritual war. God said he'd come again. He comes again through the character of man. We have to shadow heal. This spiritual war happened right now, and ancestral karmic curses is a stronghold of, one of the ways that Satan works through. And Satan is just a negative spirit, just like God is a positive spirit, right? We feel happy and high vibration when we're in that high vibration. And when it's relayed, it's of a consciousness, which is just unconditional love. No ownership, no expectation. I just love you. I shouldn't love you, but I love you so much I can forgive. I can give you another chance. I'll do things that I wouldn't normally do. And God says, that's the whole point, that you're learning. That's the energy of who I am, God says, unconditional love. But the person comes into your life to show you where you're blocked. And you're blocked because of the ancestral karma, money issues. And this person also has those blockages. So that's what you see is going on, and feelings of unworthiness. But that's not yours. That's a stronghold. God says, I don't make anything that's not unworthy. I only make things that are top notch. 24 karat gold. Better than 24 karat gold. If there actually is. Maybe like I heard that there's 33 karat gold. That's Indian jewelry. It's really yellow. I don't know if that's better, but it's top notch. It's like you're in the penthouse, baby. God says, so that's how I made you, in the penthouse. But if you keep trying to change yourself and thinking that there's something wrong, well, and to the point that you accept breadcrumbs, well, that's a problem for me. So you're living out of alignment. Where meanwhile, this person, they don't have their shit together. They don't know what the hell's going on here. All they know is that they feel like if you're still going to think about them and they like have the connection like ESP through the heart and mind. It's like our love will manifest through the union of heart and mind, ESP through the heart and mind. So that energetic cord where this person has corded to you, but they're not giving anything, it's like, well, they're not going to show emotional like vulnerability, which is their blockage, but they stay corded where you're like, I know I can still feel your energy. Why are you connected to me? Because eventually, hopefully, you'll say something, but you're not saying anything. So Spirit says, don't say anything. Do not say anything. Keep your mouth shut. Go out and join some things, travel. You might say, I don't have money. God says, travel to the park. I don't care where the hell you go, but travel. Like go out and meet people. Change your energy. Don't be so predictable. This person's insecure as shit. So they're going to try and keep you insecure. And understand, Spirit says that affects your money. That cord affects your money, affects the way you feel about yourself. When again, the energy, money has no energy. When everything's right there, that's not even yours, that you inherited it. But you have to, again, break the karmic cycle. You have to, otherwise, it just is going to loop. And that's really what it is. It's like the person has feelings, but they can't emotionally give you what you need, is what the moral to the story is. And then Spirit says, yes. So then we say, well, let's look at more inner child wounds and let's see how to transmute the negative energy. Because eventually, Spirit says, this person will eventually surrender their ego. But you probably won't want to be with them because you learn the karmic lesson where this person, they get to learn it by losing you, is what I'm feeling. Because it's like, you weren't there. And the whole point, Spirit says, yeah, and it's about you loving yourself, and you need to do that to this person. Like, I don't want to be with you. You had the opportunity. And they could have been a twin flame, but because they're like, oh, like I can't, then it's like, no. Unless a person is like, I know I want to be with you. I know, because they're coming in and they're leading like that, then you can give a person a try. But otherwise, no. It's like, if you're not excited, why the hell bother? It's like, really, Spirit says, what for? What's the whole point? So what we see here is a safety and security due to abandonment, neglect, which again, you'll see that within the root chakra, abandonment. So if the parents, there's ancestral karma. That means there's addiction, or there's, a divorce, or some weird dependency or codependencies where the parents really like don't have a good relationship, and they're not happy, and they're not nice to their children either. And that's really what it is, because they're just living a hell. And that's the stronghold, where there's this perception that you can't have, because the money issues, where really money, again, you have to create yourself and go out into life. So the neglect, and so again, and it always comes out with safety and security. Like, I don't feel like I'm enough. I don't feel like I'm safe. I don't feel like I'm stable. And God says the stability comes from me. It doesn't come from you. It comes from you doing your part, but it comes from me, because I'm going to work through you. But unless you're helping yourself, where you're interactive in life, then I can't bring you the people, the situations, and the experiences that are going to change your mind and your heart. You're not living like the faith walk. You're not, because there's no passion, there's no focus. The focus was on this person, and Spirit says, which brought you to like reliving, pretty much just reliving your trauma, is what Spirit's saying. It was a way of, like oppressing you, like keeping you down, making you feel, and this is like really making you feel like shit. If a person has their foot on, and then what you'll notice is that other people begin to treat you like that, because people perceive how they watch how you allow other people to treat you. So then they feel comfortable to treat you that way. And then you're like, everybody treats me that way. And Spirit says, yes, because of you. It's like you need to honor yourself and love yourself. And you are the stability. And so what would you need to do? Because the cards aren't going to tell us. So I'm going to tell you. You have to do like body mind medicine. You have to get a stronger connection to your physical body. Do the Silva Ultramind method. Do body mind medicine, whether that's weight training, whether that's somatic healing. You need to get a better connection to the body. That's grounding. That's your connection to God. That's your connection to your safety and your stability when your parents weren't. And it didn't mean that they didn't love. That's the best that they could do, Spirit's saying, but a way that you get away from that stronghold is to become yourself. Your mind can't be in two places at one time. If it's on love, what you love to do, and you got to go out and find that sometimes. And if you've already found it, then feed it. You're not feeding it enough. See, the path unfolds while you're on it, so no one can steal it from you. No one can copyright it. God says that there's only one. They can copy the sauce, but it never tastes the same, darling. Understand that. There's only one that's authentic. That's why we don't have to worry. And Spirit says this is about breaking the silence. That part of this is that when this person comes back, that yes, you have to say something. Because if you grew up in an environment where it didn't feel safe, well, guess what? You weren't really going to say anything because it wasn't going to help you anyway. So Spirit says part of this is to that you get to say something to this person. That you're like, oh, did you hand me this shit bag? Here it is. Here you go. It's yours. Because then they kind of come back and they say, whatever, you say, no, thank you. And now they have to hold on to that pain where they thought that you were holding on to the pain the whole time. Where I feel like you've been holding on to pain, this person contributed to that pain. All that pain did not come from that person. So they don't need to have a big head about that, is really what Spirit's saying. So that you can actually see that there's infinite possibilities. You're in your own way. Boundless opportunities arise when you release fear. And fear will come in a place of not forgiving, being angry, being stuck in any form. The Spirit says, fulfill your promise. You're not here by mistake. You're here by God's grand design. Why are you here? To be the expression of love. What is it? Where's the passion? This is how you're able to go with the flow of life. It doesn't mean that there's not problems. Problems are. They're all the time because you're not in control of what goes on in your environment. But when you're focused on your passion, you're able to go with the flow of life. You're able to, be at peace with yourself regardless of what's going on. And that allows you to be able to see brighter horizons for yourself, to see your own worth, your own genius, and not get caught up in other people's bullshit that try to make you feel a certain way when it's really their own wounds that they need to heal. And when you heal them and you fulfill your promise to why you're actually here, like your soul's path, like I said, to become the expression of love by doing what you love, that's what connects you to other people on a deep, intimate way. So your focus isn't on meeting a person because you're already emotionally fulfilled. It just happens because you're vibing at a high vibration and you're not giving that person too much. And you're automatically showing them how you want to be treated because of how you're treating yourself. You live a happy life and you're feeding yourself to what's going to grow you. Anything that's not going to grow you, that's going to keep you stagnant, needs to leave. And at this point, Spirit says the wisdom that you should have learned from growing up in the environment that you did and this relationship is because, again, it's not about you, it's about them. It makes you feel a certain way, and that's the problem because that's the wound, and that's because you didn't create enough of a new life. And it takes time. There's a space between what we sow to what we reap. God says everything happens in divine time. Don't do my job, do your job. Be like childlike, and you wind up able to integrate all facets of that fragmentation. And the fragmentation is that where you grew up in that environment with ancestral karma. That's all you know. So there were strongholds, there were those things. Now, anyone that wants deliverance healing, I only charge $25 for that, and you can reach out to me at any time to do that, because I believe it's not just about healing the mind, it's about actually filling yourself back up with the Holy Spirit, and casting out those strongholds, integrating those wounds, so that you don't keep reliving those experiences, because it hurts. It's not the fact that you don't realize that when you're connected to someone like this and you're thinking about them, you fall in love with a version of a person that doesn't even exist. You fell in love with a person that how they wanted you to perceive them, and it was based through really distorted lens, because you weren't seeing your own worth. And Spirit says, so it's almost like that. And that is a lot of times when you grow up in an environment where parents are so angry that they'll the way that they talk to their kids and how they make them feel. Well, it's another form of that creates that fragmentation. Again, it's that attachment style is not there if a parent isn't showing up and they're so emotionally caught up in their own life. Remember, our parents were growing up the same way that we're growing up, and they did the best that they could with what they had, and everyone inherits family karma. The whole point is to break the karmic cycle, Spirit says, and that means get more grounded, is really what Spirit's saying. It's like, and go, that means go out into the world, have fun, find yourself. It's like, don't keep being so predictable, so available, so nice. It's boring, Spirit says. It's like, and I understand, you'll be like, I'm tired. Spirit says, the more that you clear those blocks, the more energy you get, because that root chakra is right where your adrenals are. So the mind chatter of worry and the emotional shit is what makes you tired. It's a spiritual type of tired. It's not a let me go to sleep and I can feel rejuvenated tired. It's a no, this is still fucking here tired. And so Spirit says that over time creates physical imbalances, because the body needs to rest. The body needs to have peace of mind. Stress is one of the biggest killers. We know that. And it affects the heart, where a person closes off their heart, where really we have to keep our heart open, and we don't have control over who's in our environment. And there's a lot of shit in our environment that makes us want to close our heart. And Spirit says, so that's one way that you cannot get caught up in any of those strongholds, right? It's like you transcend the limitations of your mind because you have spiritual sovereignty. That's huge. That's your supernatural power that allows you to create whatever it is that you want to create. The illusion is that you can. Don't get caught up in the stronghold, Spirit says. Just do it by shining your light. Remember, no one knows what they're doing. Everyone's out there figuring it out. So Spirit says, but they're all shining their light. And some of them do it a lot better than others and a lot more confident. And over time, people find their style, and they don't need to fake it anymore, because they found out who they are by what they've experienced. But in the beginning, everyone's just trying to figure it out. So your desire to improve yourself transforms fear into strength. Remember, root chakra, meaning there's a lot of fear when there's ancestral stuff, especially around survival and support and money. So, Spirit says, raise your thoughts above doubt and find faith in the goodness of the universe, that you're loved, that you love and accept yourself as a soul, like you weren't accepting yourself as a soul, and discover the light that dwells inside of you. As Spirit says, go out and find the light that dwells inside of you, because it's about shining your light, which is giving and receiving of love. You're at such a high vibration. It's like you're just doing because you love it, and understand God says, I got the rest. And so you might have to work a job at the same time that you're becoming yourself, but there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. Understand that. Takes a mustard seed. God makes that multiply. We have to create that stability. We have to show up for ourselves. And we have to first and foremost say, yes, I might have been born into a family with ancestral karma, but that does not define me. If anything, it brought me personally a lot of gifts once I healed, but I had to heal them. They're gifts that come from the scars that you have, but you're able to see your family from a different perception, and it's a lot better than being angry and being mad and stuck, because all that energy is that stronghold that needs to go. All right, I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated. And until next time, be true to yourself. Thanks for joining your energy with me today. Bye-bye. Coaching. Oh, wait a second. Coaching is tonight. So if you have not signed up for coaching and you want coaching, it's just $7.99. Tonight's topic is boundaries and chakra alchemy, and how that plays out within our relationships. I do it with oracle cards, and we are really interactive within it. And then we always do a healing modality, meaning people are able to ask questions, bring their questions, because shadow healing is that. It's not just about the reading, it's about learning. It's just a fun way to do shadow healing. It's a way to stay spiritually clean, which is really important now, especially with, the spiritual warfare that's happening. Spiritual warfare is war that's attacking our minds, which makes us feel a certain way. And we get stuck in that reality where it's not the reality that we need to be in. It's a perception. So again, if you're suffering from these karmic cycles, you might want to consider joining up with my coaching program. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.